what? To buy a Jeddah, and who gave birth to... Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Wakili, for that brief historical perspective that we've had and your contribution to the fact that we as a people need to be one, wherever you are and whatever you are doing. Next, sir, may I call on Dr. Isa Nambo Baba to bring his views on this subject matter to add value to what we're doing here this afternoon. Thank you. Again, 5 minutes if you don't mind. Okay. And we appreciate if you can speak to the camera, okay, not to be facing the high table. Thank you.
Thank you, MC. My royal fathers, all protocols observed. I'm standing on existing protocols. So let me go straight away to the contribution I want to make. Well, I'm a trained historian, I would say, because I read history from my first degree to the PhD level. I never read any subject apart from history, though at Bayero University. And when I joined the Federal Civil Service, I was lecturing in Zukas, Niger State, in Zungeru. 1990, I moved to Federal Service with master's degree. But I kept on as a teacher, making research, and then enrolled to today Yakub Gowon University, University of Abuja, where I had my PhD in 2004. I've retired. I've worked in the Federal Service. I've worked in several ministries in the Federal Service. I've gone to many countries. But I feel I still have the energy to contribute my intellect to my children. And right now I'm with IBB University in La Paz. Well, that's briefly about me. Professor Ayodele has said much about the origin, the location of Gbagyi people. Let me come straight. The origin of people, particularly in the Nigerian area, you find that in the Middle Belt area, we are one people. Gbagyi, Yoruba, Idoma, Igala, Nupe, Tiv, Igbo, Edo, we're the same. If you take the theory of Greenberg and Murdoch, you list cultural words and non-cultural words of these ethnic groups, you find they rhyme. Let me cite an instance. Ewo, this is what the Nupe is called money. In Gwarinkwa, we call it Owo. In Matai, we call it Iwe. Idoma Igala, it rhymes the same, Iwo. If you look at our cultures, are the same. We dance with flutes, we dance with bottles. You understand? So we are the original people of Nigeria. Any other ethnic group apart from the Middle Belt area are outsiders. Take the case of Hausa. There are according to linguistic classification, they are Neolithic people who came from the desert, up from Niger, down here. Take our bandits group, or the Fulanis. They came from Senegambia. And the history is less than 500 to 600 years ago. They came into this area through the course of River Niger, settled among the Hausa states, intermarry with them, and if the Hausa man wants to, or maybe if the Fulani man wants to make foolishness of the Hausa man, say, "Dekamodeni, adinu mudea, anasa araba muni, muna aurea." But today, you find that they are not the same. The Fulanis are killing the Hausas, killing them and taking over their land. All the killings in Zamfara, Sokoto, Katsina are meant to, exterminate Hausa people. They killed their chief in Gobir, and nothing happened. In fact, when the family paid the ransom, they couldn't trace the emir. They burnt it. Nobody wants to think about it, but that's the truth. So this is concerning the origin. So we, Gbagyi people, are the owners of Nigeria. Why I call it owners of Nigeria is because we are the only ethnic group that surround this federal capital, including Abuja itself. When I was writing my PhD, I did extensive research, not on my topic. My topic was on Mina Emirates, the establishment of Mina Emirates. My supervisor, is late now, from University of Abuja, Yakubu Gawan, he said, no, Isa, do you like this topic, the word Mina Emirates? I said, I don't like it. I detest it. He said, why? I said, Emirates means we are subordinate to caliphate. So for that reason, I will change the topic. I wrote, the Gbagyi people, a middle Kaduna River. That is my topic. But essentially it's on Mina Emirate. If you read it, you will see it. And because of the extensive research I did, I decided to write anything about Gbagyi people. And I came up with this book. In this book, you find the woman carrying loads on her back, which means we are carrying Nigeria along with us. And I want to make an assertion. I was just going through my reports, colonial reports, annual colonial report written by Lugard in 1901. After he left, he hosted the flag in Lokoja and moved to Jeba. He said, my next target is to move to the Gwari land. And I salute their courage and bravery for withstanding the Fulani terrorist invasion. I will make sure I enlist them into my army. It's there in 1901. And that is when he came to Zungeru, because it's a Gwari settlement. The same thing when he was departing Zungeru in 1917. He said, I'm still going to the Gwari land. And that is when he moved the headquarters of northern Nigeria or Nigeria to Kaduna. It was the same principle federal government used when the debates or when Nigeria had problem with South Africa, because some of the problem why we came to Abuja was because we were helping fighting apartheid South Africa, and we had a secret report that the South African government was going to sink Lagos if we don't take time. And because of population and other things, environmental factors, the need to, move out of federal capital, Lagos came into being. And our leaders sat down and said, look, we cannot locate federal capital in any of these three major ethnic group areas. That is not Yoruba land, not Hausa, and not Igbo. So what next? They went back to the same report that is only among Gbagyi people who are resilient, accommodating, they say so many things about that. And that is why federal capital today is located here in Abuja. So you can see we own Nigeria. In fact, the title of my book is Nigeria, the Gbagyi nation. We own Nigeria. We are carrying the burden of Nigeria right from 1900, like I said. That is when the capital was moved to Zungeru, then Kaduna, and now today here. So we should be proud of ourselves. And then let me go back to the other issue I want to briefly talk about. Okay, sorry, sir. It's on the location and British administration of non-Muslim areas in the north, particularly in the north. When the British came, they found a system that was so cheap, they could use traditional rulers and administer our people. And they call it indirect rule. Well, Lugard is not the creator of indirect rule. Normally, if you conquer people, you must rule through indirect means. You can't rule them directly. So he used the institution of the Emirate system, which was a caliphate system, which was Islamic. And in the Islamic system, there are all rules and regulations. But we, the non-Muslim areas, which Lugard, the same Lugard regarded as pagans, decided to merge us forcefully without our people knowing. We were living on the hills, on the mountains, serious mountains. In fact, when you read this book, you find that I've gone through all the communities of Gbagyi land, not the only Gbagyi land, all the non-Hausa Fulani settlements. In fact, even they themselves, before 18th century, because there was general insecurity problem in the land. They were settling on the hill. The Kano people were settling on the hill. Dus and Dala, Zaria, Dus and Kupena, and so on and so forth. There was general insecurity. That's era of state creation from 16th century. And when the jihad came, they compounded the problem. So our people were on the hill, and we stayed there. So when the British came and adopted the Islamic or the Muslim indirect rule system, we were left alone. And our political system was what we call lineage system. We didn't have a centralized state. So gradually we stayed there, and they find it difficult to conquer us. And that's why we remained there until 1930s, that our people started to descend from the hill down to the floor. So I have no much time. I would have expatiated myself further. But these are the brief history I can give you about the Gbagyi. We are the nation. We are Nigeria. We are the owners of Nigeria. Say it proudly. The only ethnic group that surround Abuja and Abuja itself. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to him. Thank you, Dr. Issa. We want to appreciate your submission this afternoon. May I now call on our only and only SAN in our midst, Isiaku Ibrahim, to please come and make his submission. Please, let's appreciate him. He is a legal luminary, having attained the prestigious and rank of SAN in this profession. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
5 minutes.
Oh, I'm not in the court, so 5 minutes will be okay. Mr. Chairman, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Thank you. First of all, I would want to congratulate Professor Oyedele on this very incisive and thought-provoking paper you have delivered. Only that when the name Oyedele is mentioned, we think back to the tax reform and the chairman of that reform. Thank you, sir. Now, at page 18 of your paper, because that is where actually I felt you made a very good point that most of us here should be concerned with. Let me quote you. Second to the last paragraph, I believe, the Gbagyi elites are not united. They are divided along religious, dialects, states, and class line. They must resolve their differences, build a united progressive front to face the enormous task ahead of them. But as if the chairman of the board, the BOT, had anticipated this, he had also in page 1 and continuing on page 2, stated that our forum is committed to promoting unity, socio-economic and political progress among the Gbagyi people. And then Mr. Chairman went ahead to list some fundamental objectives of the forum. I want to say thank you, sir, if we are able to pursue this. Now, my main concern actually has to do with land issue and, of course, politics. Most of you know that I have been in this on and off. When it comes to land, our doctor there has started with the Kofena. The Gbagyi people are known to have stayed in Zaria. We were pushed down to Kaduna. In Kaduna, it's like we have also been pushed out of Kaduna, except for this one governor who gave us a Gbagyi in Kaduna. Otherwise, by now, it would have been history. But even then, I don't know how hard we can hold on to that. But it's like we have been pushed out of Kaduna. Now, in Mina, it's the same thing. You come to Mina and you hear other people saying Mina is a no man's land, which is not so. But we are not doing justice to ourselves. We have tried our best. I, for one, anybody from Mina will tell you what we have done trying to reclaim Gwari people's land. We go to court, unpaid. We make sure that these lands are given back to our people. But what has happened in Abuja? I used to say that our colleagues in Abuja are even better because they make sure that when political parties are set up, our people gain the party executive offices, because that is the only way you can make sure that a Gwari man is a candidate. It's the easiest way to make our people candidates in elections, if our people can control the parties locally. And I hope the Abuja people will continue with that. Because we in Niger always look at what is happening in Abuja to say that our colleagues in Abuja are doing their best. That is why for some time we have and still have members of the House of Reps from the Gbagyi tribe. We also have had senators also from there, from our tribe. Even though with the Labour issue, the Labour Party, it came, and because of the numerical strength of the Igbos, they now cast their vote for the Labour woman. But I know at the next election, we'll try our best to recapture Abuja. Now, I also recall that sometime in 1988, when Babangida was the president, he set up a constitution drafting committee. I happened to be on that committee, and we drafted the 1988 constitution. That constitution never came into being. And I recall while we were, I don't know if Mala Yunana Daudu is here, because we were together, and he took me to Rubochi. That was the first time I went to Rubochi to visit his home and his house. Now, what we tried to do was to try and introduce a mayoralty status in Abuja, because we were hoping that if an election was going to be held, man will emerge as the mayor of Abuja. That never came into being. Incidentally, also, 1996, 1997, Abacha also tried to set up another constitutional drafting committee. I was again there. We tried the same thing. It never saw the light of the day. And unfortunately, since ministers have been appointed in Abuja, I'm not sure if a Gwari man has been appointed a minister in Abuja. No, Abuja FCT minister. That's what I mean. We haven't had an FCT minister because we need somebody who will appreciate our own people in Abuja, how he can help our own people. Unfortunately, also in Niger, we haven't had the privilege of producing a governor, but I'm very sure that in not distant future, we shall produce one, God willing. Now, my experience during the drafting constitution was that the Igbo people came with an Eastern mandate. They had already written down everything the East was going to negotiate. And that is one thing that is lacking with our own people. In Niger, for example, we don't even have a Gwari man in the House of Reps now. The fact that you can count on us in not less than 15 local government areas out of 25 in Niger State. We don't have a Gwari man in the House of Reps. We have a senator. But I hope that we have to pull him and then let him lead us into how, because he has now to be the rallying point for our people. When the bell is rung for the governorship election to be conducted, I'm sure he will be one of the front runners. And if by God's grace he becomes the governor, then of course we ought to have the Gbagyi mandate and place it before him. So which means that we should take politics seriously, because we are allowing people to determine our own. Must sit down and draw up a kind of mandate, what you are going there to pursue, so that even in your various committees, you should know what to do. There are employment opportunities. Our people should be able to dig into that. There are other issues of appointments, chairman of board. Up till today, we have not sat down to determine what areas the Gwari man wants. How do we pursue these things? Mr. Chairman, you have a lot of work to do, sir. You have to sit down, set up a committee so that we can do all this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Our distinguished brother, uncle, and father. It may interest you to know, and then this is just what we're talking about. We just celebrate our own. To know that this is the first Gbagyi man to be a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's worth celebrating. He is, like I did say, Isiaku Ibrahim, or Ibrahim Isiaku. Sorry, sir, I don't know which one comes first. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Just before I call the last person on the list, but no means the least, because he's going to sum up a number of things that have been raised. Let me recognize some of our Royal Highnesses that came in just during the occasion. Mr. Chairman, sir. Let me welcome Engineer Beatrice James. Sad Natai, you want to welcome, sir. We also have His Royal Highness Dr. Ibrahim Yero Asubwari. We want to welcome you, sir. Your Royal Highness. Let me also welcome His Royal Highness Joseph Damfulani Sakari. I want to welcome you, sir. And let me also have the pleasure to welcome our hosts, our father, His Royal Highness Dr. Usman Gakupi Sapei Garki. I want to welcome you, sir. Thank you very much. On this note, sir, Mr. Chairman, sir, let me have the pleasure now to invite Professor Andrew Zamani from the Nassau University, Kefi, to make his submission at this moment. Prof.
Mr. Chairman, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. Distinguished brothers and sisters, I want to identify with the paper that Professor Oyedele presented. He has done a thorough job professionally as an academician, as also as a historiographer. When the MC was asking, you know, who is really who is angry, not angered, who is angry. I did not raise my hand because I was still boiling within me. Because, you know, towards the end of his paper, he actually alluded to some of the things that we have said about ourselves that is terribly demeaning. You know, for instance, one of his sources, the Gbagyi Journal, if you check it, I'm one of the editors. But I never reviewed any paper. You know, there was no peer review. Very few people read these things and, you know, gave it the academic clout. To give it the academic clout that it actually deserved. For instance, all the things that the chairman of Gbagyi Elders Forum, you know, said those years back, I'm not sure if you ask him today, he would say them again. It is not as bad. It is not as gloomy as it seems. The issue of unity that the Silk just mentioned, for me, is a natural process. When people are growing, usually there will come up challenges that will shake their essence and being. But with time, what attests to their strength is their resilience. And the distinguished lecturer today affirmed that having come a long way as people who do not have a migration history, who have been accosted, who have been challenged, who have been been attacked in many fronts. We have kept faith, we have maintained our region, and we are still a very strong, united people. I think we should be happy with that. So when it comes to the issue of heritage, aligning with his definition, I want to say that as a people, we have identity. Heritage to us means our identity, which we have retained. I want also to say that we have a notable presence in Nigeria and in the respective places where we have beat, and have the right to self-determination and civil engagement. We may not have done it sufficiently to give the clout of a majority ethnic group, but we have done fairly well, and we are in the process. Today's meeting is an attestation to that. Our rights as a collective and individuals are sacrosanct and should be safeguarded as is being done for other majority ethnic groups, because I refuse to be called a minority. In Nigeria, I'm not a minority. I am Gbagyi, I am not a minority. I don't take that definition. And for me, minority is not a number. It's not a number. What are you bringing to the table? What have we not brought to the table? Our distinguished lecturer told us the several things that we have brought to the national table, for which we need to be proud. We have a history, we have a rich cultural heritage, and we have had organized economies upon which we have survived against all odds. We have had these things over time, and we should be very mindful what we tell our children about us, and we should be very mindful what we entertain as feedback from people, you know, about us. I'll give you an example. When people say that, okay, what is the main economic stay of the Gbagyi person? They say we are farmers. We are farmers. That is the meaning now. It's agriculture. Excuse me, is there no difference? There's a difference. It's agriculture. That's one of our economic mainstays. Mining is an economic mainstay. Mining. Entertainment. Now, Gbagyi Entertainment has grown into, is it Gbagyi or Gollywood? Gbagyi, right? Gbagyi. Our young men and women are doing excellently in that regard. Should we not be proud? Construction is an economic activity of the Gbagyi people. Construction. Estate management. Estate management is a main economic activity of the Gbagyi people. And then, of course, alternative medicine. Gbagyi Ashigbe. These are, economic outlets through which we have sustained ourselves over a period of time. If you have not labeled them in those ways, please, I think the time is now, so that we do not continue this legacy of lamentation and self-denigration each time we meet. Land has been a rich economic resource for our people and has actually provided spiritual and social enabling environments for the economic prosperity of Nigeria. Land. We should also be very proud of our forebears, of our elders, of those who founded our respective communities for being such excellent geologists. Professor Shokolo is here. You know how they were able to discover fertile lands, how they were able to discover lands that were rich in mineral resources, in forest resources, generally, let's say, bioresources. We should be very, very proud of ourselves for having such an acumen, not only to found these places, but to remain in them and to guard them. The challenge before us is, what do we do to consolidate on these efforts that we have made over the years? I want to agree with Professor Oyedele that there has been laxity over time. But as a professor of social identity, I want to say that each time there is a major social change, people are shaken and they are disorganized. Now the Gbagyi people have regrouped, and I think we're bound for the promised land. We should also be very mindful of a few factors. One is that the Gbagyi people, and it is not an excuse, but that is the truth. Nobody goes through this kind of assault, and retains sanity. Now that we have such resilience to maintain sound minds, means that we are a force to reckon with, and Nigeria had better be warned that if we do not really get our rights, then we will now take over from those people who are assaulting us and bring them down, and we don't want to lose our humanity. We've had challenges with religious and ethnic bigotry, which has divided our people, like has been rightly observed, and we do not want that to continue. We are going to attack it. We are actually attacking it in the sense that we are all here united as Christian brothers, as Muslim brothers, as even traditional religious worshippers. I think it's something to celebrate. Please, the federal government's attention is hereby called to the misuse and misappropriation of the Land Use Act. You know, this has been used against our people to the extent that even our traditional institutions are being bullied. People are being challenged, you know, to give up, you know, our ancestral lands. Otherwise, they will either be dethroned or they are kingdoms. I don't call them chiefdoms. Chiefdom is politically endowed, but we have kingdoms, Gbagyi kingdoms. And we've, like the speaker said, the lecturer said, the truth is that we have had an organized political system. We should hold on to it and we should be proud of it and should disseminate it. So this should be properly attended to. At every opportunity that we have, we should challenge the misuse, the misappropriation, the misapplication of the Land Use Act, especially as it affects our people. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm trying to round up now. The goal of these people has been to cause what we call menticide. Menticide. A situation in which they put us into self-doubt. They enact self-defeating thoughts in us and make us to easily give way to their antics. I believe very strongly that this gathering is a statement that no more. This can never happen again. There are a few governance issues that I am going to bring to the table. And I think it is very important that we pronounce them. That henceforth, governments at all levels should begin to pay attention to Gbagyi settlements, to development in Gbagyi settlements. Right now, this has not been so, to the extent that our communities all over Nigeria have been made vulnerable to attacks by bandits and terrorists. Many government organs just look away as if nothing is going on. The idea is to take over our land, rewrite history about such lands so that we have no further claims upon them. This must stop. In all the